If you lend money to a friend, then the relationship might end. And here's why. What's good, everybody? It's Vaughn, and this is where you get the knowledge that you don't get in college. So go ahead and scroll into the description, click the link next to WeBull, and collect your 12 free stocks. I've heard a ton of horror stories about lending money to family and friends, and because of that, I approach those type of situations with caution, and you should too. I personally haven't experienced lending someone money and they just don't pay it back. And that's because I use my judgment. See, there's a difference between lending money and giving money. When you're lending money, it should not be emotional based. Lending money is a business transaction. When it comes to business, you stick to the process without getting emotionally attached to the results. If someone's giving you a story and you have sympathy for them and you want to help them out in that situation, then you should give without expecting anything in return. And then in the end, you won't tarnish the relationship with that friend. Some people have a hard time saying no, but when you say no, it allows you to grow because it allows you to separate the real from the fake. Because if they're really your friend, then they'll understand that their financial problems are not yours to solve. I remember when I was in the Netherlands for the first time, me and my friend was in McDonald's and I ordered a Big Mac, no Mac, just sauce, and the cashier got lost. So I had to call the boss. I'm just joking. I actually got a McChicken and that thing was finger licking good.
Nice.
They just use better quality meat, and when they serve it to you, it's really neat. But we're sitting down, and I was enjoying my meal, and I overheard my friend on the phone with a little shawty that went to high school with us, and she was having a little financial dilemma, and she needed some help. At the time, I was doing good for myself, and in the moment, I felt like I was in a movie. Everything was groovy. I felt like the man of the year, and I didn't care, so I just lent a couple of dollars to my pair. And the reason why I did it is because she had kids. She was in a whole nother state and she needed to move back to Florida, but she didn't have enough money to do so. So I felt bad and I wanted her to be glad. So I outlined the terms and conditions, and after she agreed to it, I sent her the funds. To make a long story short, I got my money back, but it was after more than a year later. For the first few months, them funds was coming in consistently on time. So I was like, okay, this is nice and smooth. I don't even gotta be rude. But then she stopped making payments. So I had to reach out to her and she explained herself. And I was like, all right, that's understandable. But communication is key and it's also free. It doesn't cost you anything to update me on your situation. And that is something that I don't like. People have this bad habit of trying to avoid you when they know they're doing something that they shouldn't do. But when you borrow money from someone, they shouldn't have to reach out to you in order to get their money back. They didn't ask you to borrow the money from them. You asked them and they're giving you assistance. And this has been a reoccurring issue. Majority of the time that I lend people money, they don't pay it back on time. And there's very few that'll compensate you for the inconvenience. Even though I got my money back in this situation, it was a learning experience because the interest that I made was not worth the time and energy that I put into getting it back. That situation helped me to learn that lending money because you sympathize isn't wise. To be honest, when it comes to lending money to friends, the only problem that I have is that I don't get paid back on time. But when it comes to family, that's one of the worst decisions you can make. You see, the people that are willing to pay you back are typically the ones that won't ask you for money. And if they're asking for money out of desperation, then it won't be a pleasant situation. There's a situation that I'm dealing with right now that has to do with an extended relative. And I didn't necessarily lend them funds, but a transaction got processed through me. And I got majority of the funds at the time that the transaction was being processed, but they ended up adding more items to the order. And it's been over a year now and I haven't gotten paid the rest. And I don't know about you, but I do not like asking about my money. If I lend you money, then I expect to receive it back in a timely fashion. And if I don't, then you won't ever get another loan from me again. But lending money to friends and family can be very stressful, especially with family, because sometimes they feel like you owe them something because of what they've done for you in your childhood. And majority of the time, their logic makes absolutely no sense. So if you ever decide to lend money to family or a friend, I would highly suggest that you have them sign a promissory note because documentation beats conversation And you should obtain collateral that is equal or greater value. That way, if they don't pay you back, you can just sell the collateral and no one loses. But what are your thoughts about lending money to a family or a friend? And do you have any horror stories? If you do, leave them in the comments below. And if you like this video, go ahead and check this one out. But it's about that time. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so that you're notified every time I make a new post. And build a foundation so that you're no longer stuck on a plantation. Until next time.